What's up everybody, SuperDorks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2017 Buick LaCrosse. Huge thanks to Buick for providing me with this very nice LaCrosse here to review for you guys today. So about the LaCrosse here, well, it's all new for 2017 and I gotta say it's really striking. I mean, it's obviously heavily influenced, I guess, by the Buick Avenir concept that was released a couple of years ago, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous here. I just love, the sweeping lines here you have, going all the way down the body here and then kicks up towards the back. It's really just beautiful. And this one, of course, is the Premium, which is fully loaded, so you have these nice 20-inch wheels that look very nice on it. And I like all the little details in this car too that kind of harken back to the past. I really like the three little porthole inspired vents here in the fender, and even just the way the side mirrors are sculpted are nice, and all those little things. You have a nice grille there. I like little chrome bits, and nice attractive headlights as well. And I mean, it's a large full-size Buick and it looks like that. It's not crazy in your face or anything, but I gotta say that it's a very conservative yet very handsome look. As for the interior of the 2017 Buick LaCrosse, well, it is very nice, like you would expect. It's a simple interior design, but very classy still and stylish, and I like it a lot. But anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, very nice soft leather seats here in the LaCrosse. Of course, this being a full-size large Buick, the seats don't have much bolstering to speak of, pretty flat seats there. But again, we're talking about a Buick luxury sedan here, so wasn't expecting any kind of racing seats or anything. But they're heated, they're cooled, and like I said, they're so soft and comfortable, and the best perk about them is they have a massage function, which is amazing that those kind of high-end features are now trickling down to lesser luxury vehicles that are within the affordable range of most people, and so very awesome to have those here, and so overall just really great seats. Next to the steering wheel in the 2017 LaCrosse, which is actually the least impressive part about this interior for me. It's nicely leather wrapped, has a nice 9-3 grip, nice little 10-2 notches. It even has paddle shifters, and it's even heated, which is very nice to have. But the only thing I'm not impressed by is the materials here on the wheel, because aside from the leather, rim, it's just this cheap plastic really for the inside of the spokes here, and the buttons and everything. There's a little bit of metal adornment here on the edges, but otherwise, I was hoping it would at least be wood or metal or some kind of nicer trim here instead of just this cheaper plastic that feels like it's out of an economy car. And so it's the only thing, but otherwise, like I said, a pretty good wheel, and it feels nice to use. Next is the gauges in the LaCrosse, which are very nice here in the Premium trim, and they do the partially digital thing like some of the other GM vehicles these days do, and they look very, very nice. Of course, you have the tachometer, and then there are other gauges there on the right-hand side, but then in the center there, you have the digital speedometer, which also gives you other information there. If you'd like, you can configure for a digital speedometer. You can have your trip information, but you can also do like your navigation, you can do your audio, and really just custom tailor to exactly what it is you want to see. And so very nice to have that. And this car also has a heads-up display as well, which just displays the speed that you're going, but nice to have that too, so you don't even have to look down at the gauges as much anyway. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, this is really the part that I'm most impressed by, because it really doesn't look like anything else in the GM portfolio. A lot of times, there's a little bit of sharing that goes on with parts and whatnot, but this looks totally different, and I really love the way this is, because you start off with the Buick IntelliLink system, which is similar to the GMC IntelliLink and the Chevrolet MyLink system, all basically the same thing here. It all obviously has a different fonts, and the graphics are a little bit different. And it does look very nice, and the screen works very well. It has navigation, it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I always love seeing here as a standard thing on these screens, and it's pretty nice. Unfortunately, there is no tune knob, so scrolling through radio stations and things like that can be a little more cumbersome than it should be, but otherwise it's just a very nice responsive screen. But the best thing that I love about this screen is the way that it's integrated. Instead of having the chunky bezel like a lot of the other GM vehicles with this screen, it's just flush with these air vents here, and it's kind of almost looks bezel-less, which is really awesome, and just looks so much cleaner in the way that it's integrated in there, and I really, really like that. Continuing down to the volume knobs and the climate control knobs, they all have a very nice resistance to them and feel great. And I also love this climate control area because unlike other GM vehicles, this one you have a dedicated little screen here that's not within the knob like it is on so many other GM vehicles, and so it's nice to have a little screen there that again looks bezel-less and looks like it just appears there. And then you have your typical kind of buttons here, but there's not too many of them. It's really, really nice and simple, and I love how they kept that uncluttered. And then coming down, you have a few other buttons here for, automatic parallel parking, lane keep assist, all that kind of cool tech, as well as a sport mode, which I will test out here. It's admirable that a Buick has a sport mode, especially this LaCrosse, but we'll give it a try here in a little bit. But so yeah, otherwise, like I said, just very clean and uncolored. You have a cool shifter here that, looks very similar to stuff you see in BMWs and things like that. And so that's a nice different take on a shifter as well here, and a welcome change and something fresh and new for the Buicks. As far as storage space in the LaCrosse, it's actually a very clever use of space, and they did a really good job. Anyway, though, first things, you got a bottle holder here in the door with a map pocket as well, which is nice and deep and very usable. Coming over to the center here is really the most interesting thing, because you have this large tray underneath of the shifter and everything. I mean, you can fit all kinds of stuff, and you also find a power outlet down there as well, but a really huge and very usable space down there, and very handy. Coming up top here, you have a little space for a key or something like that. You open up this cover and you have your two cup holders, and then you have this other little thing, which is actually a wireless charging thing here for your phone, and it goes very deep down so that you can put your phone in there very snugly. And so it depends on the size of phone you have. I have a standard iPhone 7, and it fits in there just right, but it doesn't do wireless charging. But if you do have a phone that is around the same size as an iPhone 7, does wireless charging, then you're really set, because that's a really cool little cubby and just a really good idea and use of space. Coming back to the center armrest here, it is on the firm side, but it is nicely padded still a little bit here, and so you open that up, and then you have this very nice little center cubby here that has two USB jacks, an auxiliary jack, and a power outlet, and is a good usable size as well, so you can fit all kinds of things in there. So very well done there. Back seat in the LaCrosse is very impressive. Just the sheer amount of space you have back there. I mean, this is a full-size sedan after all, but still, it's just, you probably have, I'd say, 9 inches of legroom there. I'm 5'9", and that's with me sitting behind myself. Plenty of headroom as well. It's just a really big back seat. I think Shaquille O'Neal could probably fit back there fairly comfortably. And so, yeah, very impressive, very soft, comfortable back seat as well. There's also a normal house current power outlet, as well as, your typical power outlets back there. It has air vents, it has a fold-down armrest with additional cup holders in addition to what you have in the doors, and overall just a very nice and comfortable back seat. And those back seats also do fold down flat as well, so if you need to haul something along in your Buick, you can put those seats down and put all kinds of stuff right here into the interior. Trunk space in the LaCrosse is also very large and spacious, and so you could easily fit, I think, 4 full-size suitcases in there without a problem. And honestly, one of the largest trunks I've encountered so far, I think. Very, very roomy and spacious. Again, very fitting with being a full-size Buick. You do get those perks of the super spacious back seat and trunk, and that's nice to have. All right, so start up and go for a drive. The Buicks here for 2017 all have this very cool new key fob that I really like, and very nice feeling. And so anyway, you just leave that in your pocket, of course, because keyless entry and push button start. So you just hit the engine start button, and it starts right up. Alright, so setting off in the 2017 Buick LaCrosse. It's a very nice thing to just cruise around in, as you would expect from a full-size Buick luxury sedan. It's very soft, comfortable, smooth ride, very quiet in here, and you just feel coddled in comfort, really. Great visibility as well. Hood drops down nicely. The dashboard also sits very low, so you have a very good view forward. View out of the sides is great, and view out of the back isn't the greatest, actually, because there is a fairly high rear deck lid there, but it's still a decent view, and of course you have a backup camera if you need to look behind you as well. Alright, so we're going to put this into sport mode here, and we'll leave the transmission in automatic. Let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. Here we go. Okay, so it gets up and hustles pretty good here. So the 2017 LaCrosse has a 3.6 liter V6 engine here that has 310 horsepower and 282 pound-feet of torque. And the 2017 LaCrosse is about 300 pounds lighter than the previous LaCrosses, right around 3,600 pounds. So it actually helps it get up to speed a lot easier than before. So 0 to 60 time, believe it or not, is 5.9 seconds here for the LaCrosse. So not a slouch by any means, and will outrun, even some sporty compact cars. So very impressive pickup, of course. So as far as the sport mode goes, though, I mean, it's pretty responsive with, you know, giving me the power I want whenever I put my foot down. But, you know, I don't notice any kind of, you know, huge transformation. I've been driving this car already for a couple of days here, and, you know, it feels mostly the same here in sport mode as it does in the normal mode. But, you know, as we're just cruising down a normal road here, it's very, like I said, very comfortable, pretty quiet and smooth, and just very luxurious feeling. It just feels, it's the old school luxury, the soft, cushy sofa kind of, you know, ride is kind of how this feels. And I like that, you know, that Buick isn't trying to be something that they're not. It's supposed to be a soft luxury sedan, and they just went with it and took it and ran with it. And so it's just really well done in that way. You know, for someone looking for something very, you know, luxurious and just relaxed, laid back, this is really hard to beat, I think. You know, as far as competitors go, it's just, I mean, it feels pretty large going down the road as well. So, you know, you feel like you're in a big, large luxury sedan, and there's no masking that. You know, it feels wide. It's not necessarily hard to drive or anything. It just takes a little getting used to the size, especially the length and stuff, because you feel like it's way back there as far as how long the car goes. But like I said, just because of the size of it, it just, you know, just really hugs the road nicely whenever you're just cruising along here, and just really floats along, and I'm pretty impressed with it. Alright, so this is no sports car, but I do want to take around a few corners just to show how it handles. Then the biggest thing that I notice is in the sport mode here, the steering weight does get a good amount heavier, so it firms it up so it's not quite as floaty with the steering. Because that's one thing you notice putting it in a couple of corners here, is that the steering is definitely a little lighter, you know, in the standard mode, and doesn't feel very sporty at all, but it is accurate and precise. But coming up to some other corners here, and honestly, it feels pretty good. I mean, again, you would think that a large Buick luxury sedan would be really floaty, but this, I mean, there's a little bit of a lean to it whenever you first turn in, and then it just sticks. And I think, again, it goes back to that loss of weight. Losing 300 pounds only helps the handling characteristics. And so, you know, being only 3,600 pounds, it really doesn't have a whole lot of weight to throw into those corners. And that's, I think, what helps to make it, you know, feel pretty good. You know, again, now it's tuned for, and the tires and everything, it's all set up to be comfortable and luxurious and softer. But, you know, as far as, you know, weight goes, it actually feels pretty light, and it's actually just a nice thing to just take around corners. I mean, you know, it's obviously, like I said, no sports sedan by any means, but, you know, for a nice little daily commuter, you want something super luxurious, this will handle a corner still just fine. A couple other things I want to mention here, you know, the brakes actually feel pretty good, lots of bite right at the top of the pedal, which I always like, and then as far as throttle response goes, you know, it's a little bit on the lazy side, and also that's partially because of the transmission is a little bit on the lazy side. But again, this is set up to be a relaxed car, so, you know, I'm not expecting anything razor sharp, and it certainly is not. So, you know, but otherwise, like I said, it's a nice thing to just drive as long as you're driving in a relaxed manner, and, you know, you just want something comfortable, smooth, and quiet. This gets the job done really well. But I'm going to drive this around for a few more days here, thanks to Buick lending it to me here, and I'll come back and give you guys my final fuel economy and all my final thoughts on it. Alright, so I've been driving the 2017 Buick LaCrosse here for about a week now, and it's a really nice thing. You know, it's just a nice, relaxing cruiser. It's very quiet. You know, they've improved the sound insulation here for these new models, and so it is really pretty quiet and just a very nice, comfortable, relaxed ride. And that's the whole point of the Buick LaCrosse, of course. It's not supposed to, you know, be any kind of sports sedan or anything like that. And so, you know, for, you know, the way that they designed it, I think that it hits the target audience perfectly and is exactly what, you know, people that are looking at a full-size, comfortable luxury sedan would like. And so, the only, like, main complaint that I have here with the LaCrosse is the stop-start feature that is forced. You can't turn it off, so you always have to have the stop start, and I really don't like it because it's still not very seamless. You can still tell it's still very obvious whenever it's, you know, turning on and off, and not a huge fan of it. And it also kind of turns off at the wrong time. Sometimes I'm, you know, stopping quickly and it doesn't know that, and it'll, you know, turn off, and then I get right back going. Like, this is a good example where it, like, almost dies when I'm just in the middle of an intersection here. So not a huge fan of the stop start. Other cars, you can turn that stuff off usually. This one you can't, you have to have it, and I really don't like not having that choice. So that's the only thing really that irks me. The transmission isn't perfect either. They did put the 8-speed automatic in here, so it is a very nice brand new transmission here, but it still seems to engine brake a little excessively, and that takes away from the refinement a little bit. It also does hunt around for gears a tad more than I would like, but it is very quick with its upshifts, and they are very smooth whenever it does hunt around. But you know, it's just you would think with the V6 you have enough power that you don't need to really you know, hunt around too much, but it still is just a little slow. See, like, I had to wait, and it took a little while for it to downshift twice to give me the power that I wanted. So, you know, that's really the only two little gripes that I have. So, you know, during my week here, my fuel economy, now this car is rated at 21 in the city and 31 on the highway for a combined average of 25. And my week of driving here was primarily city, a tiny bit of highway driving, but not a whole lot. And my average fuel economy was 20.2. So, you know, just under the city average there. I was hoping to at least get the city average, especially with the stop-start and all that kind of stuff going on that I can't turn off. I figured it would be able to hit the 21, but it was a little bit shy of that. Still, you know, for a, you know, pretty large full-size sedan here, luxury sedan with a V6, I'd say that it's about the going rate. I'm not impressed with the fuel economy, but I'm not super disappointed either. But overall, you know, like I said, not bad there. And then the final thing, of course, is the price of the LaCrosse. Now, this one, as tested, is right around $48,000, but this is basically fully loaded with just about every option you can get on them. So the premium ones here, which still come very nicely equipped, you know, with the massage seats and everything, start at $41,000. And then, you know, you still have to upgrade for the Bose sound system, which does sound very good, by the way. It's an 11-speaker surround sound system that isn't mind-blowing, but it is a very good system, and you know, I like it a lot. So, you know, these do start though right under $33,000 for the base model LaCrosse, which I'm assuming is still going to have the same buttery smooth ride, the same very quiet and smooth and comfortable, you know, driving dynamics, which is, you know, what you're looking for, you know, something like this. You get all that stuff here still, even with the cheaper model. So, you know, if you don't need all the, you know, high-end features, the heads-up display, you know, the larger infotainment with nav and all that kind of stuff, you can do without some of those things, I think, and still have a very nice cruiser, you know, for those looking for something like this. So I think it's priced right, you know, especially if you keep it within the 30s there, or you'd even do 41, you know, that's about the going rate for, you know, anything American. And then, of course, if you step up to the German stuff, you can't even get into these, you know, larger luxury sedans for, you know, under 50. So I think that it's very competitively priced, actually, and like I said, for those that want something that's not a sports sedan, because it clearly isn't, but if you want something that's just a nice, comfortable, relaxing cruiser, you know, this is going to be pretty tough to beat. So anyway, huge thanks to Buick for providing me with this to review for you guys, and let me know your thoughts on the LaCrosse. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.